I will hand over to him, and he'll be the one that starts the space and have the conversation with you until 4:30. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, DM.
Thank you so much, Florence, and good afternoon. It's a bit of a chilly and wet Friday in Johannesburg, and I suppose in some parts of the country. But we're hoping to warm you up with today's discussion, which will be focusing on our sector education and training authorities. What are these um, structures? We've heard a lot about them from a whole range of sources. Some of you might have interacted with SETAs. Some of you may have your own perceptions of what SETAs are and what they do. So today we've got a panel of SETA CEOs, including officials from our departments, but also some of the training providers who have interacted with SETAs before, um, and who are going to help us shed some light into what our sector education and training authorities, or SETAs, their role are, and all of that. But one of the main reasons why we decided we should have this discussion is because a lot of you may have heard about learnerships, and may be wondering who are the special people who get to participate in learnerships or in internships. So you may have been one of those who've been, in a learnership or in an internship, and maybe you want to share experiences. Some people have already said to me they've had their allowances not being paid by some of the employers or host employers. Some people have been on learnerships or internships in forever, whilst others have not had the opportunity to be skilled in a workplace format through a learnership. Or you may be doing your second year at a University of Technology. You may be a student at a TVET college. Next year, you will be expected to focus on your workplace integrated learning. And these are, of course, some of the opportunities that are offered by sector education and training authorities, or SETAs. But even more, you could be a training provider and have a passion in training, and would be quite hopeful to interact with some of the SETAs to get to know what is it that they do, and how is it that you could have access to some of this. So my guests today, we have our acting chief director for SETA coordination in our department, Mr. Mabuza Ngubane, Menzi Fakude, who's the CEO of Services SETA, Mr. Yeshin Pillay, who's the CEO of Shieta, Ms. Gugum Kize, who's the CEO for the Insurance SETA, and Dr. Katuchelo Shiroba, who's the CEO of AgriSETA, and also Mr. Matume Madibana, who's the acting CEO of the MICT SETA. We will have a couple of other people that we'll bring in on the discussion, including interns and learners. But more importantly, I want you to start requesting to speak as soon as now, because I want to make this a much more interactive session, so that we don't only get to listen to our guests, but also to let you who's joined this space, who's the most important person, to speak. So let me start with Mabuza Ngubane, who's the chief director in our department, just to give us a sense of the overview and to paint us a picture in terms of what SETAs are and how they work, how they interact with different stakeholders. But the general intention, I know once we say someone is chief director, they will go into legislation and policies and this act and this and that act, but Mabuza is known for going straight to the point in terms of what an overview of the role of SETAs are. Mr. Mabuza, Ngubani, welcome.
Good afternoon, Deputy Minister, colleagues, as well as the listeners. Thank you very much, Deputy Minister. SETAs are public entities of the Department of Higher Education and Training, which are established in terms of the Skills Development Act to facilitate training and development in all economic sectors. SETAs were established in terms of the skills development.
716 1997. 1997.
DM, I think your speaker is still
right.
on. Thanks.
Can I continue? Am I audible?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Please
I've been
go
battling to
Okay.
mute it, but it's fine now.
No problem, DM. Thank you. They were all established across all economic sectors. Their responsibility is the facilitation and also funding the learning programs in various economic sectors. The learning programs may include learnerships, internships, the recognition of prior learning, skills programs, artisanships, apprenticeships, and so on. But other functions of the SETAs include accreditation of training providers. By accreditation, that is actually to give licensing to all interested stakeholders who wanted to offer specific training programs within the respective sectors. With regards to how SETAs can be accessed, let me indicate that firstly, SETAs have offices in all provinces with headquarters in Gauteng province. They also have partnerships with TVET colleges throughout the country. So most information about SETAs can be accessible in TVET colleges. Our departmental website has a homepage that also lists all the SETAs. So if you want to access SETA information via our departmental website, you can then go to www.dhet.gov.za. Our homepage will have a list of all SETAs, and when you click there, you can be able to access all information starting from the learning programs, the accreditation issues, as well as accessing the bursaries, including what is currently in the pipeline for each SETA, as well as scarce and critical skills, as that is what we are promoting, that learners must make sure that when they are choosing their careers, they must focus more on what each sector views as a scarce and a critical skill. Thank you, DM.
Okay, thank you very much. So now, how many of these do we have, and what are the areas of focus?
Oh, thank you very much, DM. We've got the 21 sector education and training authorities. They cover the whole spectrum of all economic activities that exist in the country. I can quickly highlight that we've got a SETA for media and information and communication technology, the finance-related SETA, education, training and development practices, the energy and water space, food and beverages, agricultural space, fiber processing and manufacturing, the wholesale and retail sector space, the public services, which includes all our government departments, the local government space, the health and welfare space that focuses on our hospitals, as well as the social development space, the safety and security that covers the prisons, the SAPS, our intelligence, as well as private security space and the courts, the construction space, the chemical space, manufacturing and engineering, the mining, the transport and logistics, services space, insurance, banking, as well as culture, arts, tourism, and hospitality. Those are all the areas that are covered by our sector education and training authorities. I think I nearly forgot to respond to what you had asked about how to access the learning programs. Let me indicate that
Yes, please.
the learning program opportunities, firstly, are available to all public members in the country. Firstly, these are done after the minister's press briefing. One of the means in which we avail this information to the public is that every beginning of the year, Minister holds a press briefing in which he announces the SETA opportunities before or after the release of the matric results. But that is not the only way in which SETA opportunities are accessible. I'm just indicating what is in the pipeline. But anytime you can access SETA opportunities by going to their website and check their available opportunities. But SETAs also advertise what is available. And SETAs work hand in hand with the employers because some and most of their training programs are workplace-based, which is to enable that all the beneficiaries who undergo training will have to go and be taught a theoretical training in the class and also go to practice what they have learned. That is our approach in terms of the post-school education and training to ensure that we link education with what is required in the labor market so that those who undergo training are afforded an opportunity to go and practice what they have learned. Thank you very much, DM.
Okay, so if someone is have just completed their N6 or in the old days what used to be called S2, S4, and they want to get into, and I'll specifically ask some of the some of the SETAs this question in terms of, in line with their SETAs, what do they do? But in the broader sense, what does one do if they want to apply for a workplace integrated learning, or what is usually referred to as in-service training, for them to get their diploma?
DM, every South African has a right to make an inquiry with regards to the opportunities that are available in the SETA space, but it works much more easier when they approach employers with regards to that information, because SETAs are more responsible for providing funding. So SETAs work hand in hand with the employers, as I have indicated. So if the employer has the workplace opportunities or the space to provide the practical training, so there's generally an interaction between the SETA and that particular organization. The organization or the company will offer the workplace or the workstation, and the SETA will provide funding for the stipend for that particular learner. But inquiries can be made directly via the SETAs. At times, SETAs themselves advertise for such opportunities, as well as employers. From time to time, they issue adverts to the general public regarding such opportunities. Thank you.
Okay. All right. No, thank you very much. Let me start with the services SETA CEO. Um, I call it the general dealer SETA, which is more about, from funeral parlors to hair salons to anything that you can think about. Menzi Fakure is the the CEO of Services SETA. So what does your SETA do, Mr. Fakude?
Good afternoon, DM. Good afternoon, colleagues. Good afternoon to our stakeholders and the listeners of today's session. The services SETA is viewed as a general dealer because in the main, it's called the services SETA, of which a lot of other SETAs offer services as well. But generally, we are the bigger SETAs that consist of, in the main, small companies that, in the main, are even exempt to contribute towards the skills development levy. But we have only about 21% of our stakeholders that contribute the levies to the SETA, but we have a responsibility to look after all our stakeholders. We've got specifically 6 subsectors. We've got 1, communication and marketing. We've got cleaning and hiring. We've got labor and collective, and we've got personal care, which includes funeral services and hair salon, the DM mentioned. And we've got real estate and related services. And the bigger one, which contributes approximately 80% of our levies, it's management and business services. We have a very, I would say, difficult mandate because our focus is to support our existing businesses, but also we need to allow the new entrants in those subsectors to participate in our economy. That means reaching out to communities in rural areas who can participate in the main to a lot of small businesses, including the hair salons. And it also includes us assisting other government projects which improve access into the post-schooling and education opportunities. So in the main, we are a SETA that is generally supporting all the other 20 sectors that are represented by different SETAs. I will leave it at that. Thank you.
Okay, but I want to understand, what do you mean by levy paying employers? As in, who should? I mean, who should be? Firstly, who should be paying levies to the services SETA, and why should they be paying levies to the services SETA? And in exchange for an example, what sort of programs?
Thank you again, DM. The sectors that we have in our economy, in the main, they are defined upfront. So the companies from registration, they are aligned with the specific sector. The skills development legislation then prescribes that companies that have a payroll in excess of R1 million, then they should contribute the skills development levy to the sector that on registration they were allocated to. What is more important is that with that exemption where you are a small company, but however, you are entitled to the benefit to be supported with these kind of programs that SETAs come about, regardless of whether you are financially contributing or you are small, hence excluded from contributing.
Okay. But what sort of programs are you running as the services SETAs? I mean, just to give us an example.
Services SETA, we support, as I say, the labor and collective kind of sector. Our programs in the main, they include training, marketing services, training, cleaning related services. It includes consulting related services. It includes real estate valuation programs. It includes a lot of causes, if I may say, that support the main 6 sectors. When we offer those programs, they come in the form of learnerships, they come in the form of skills program, depending on the particular complexity or the particular requirements of that particular program.
Okay. So if say a training provider, so what's your relationship, say, with a training provider, and what kind of training providers do you usually work with? And how does one become a service provider?
Okay.
I mean, a training provider.
Okay. The fundamental what I would call skills development facilitation process, it starts with the SETAs accrediting training providers, meaning that if a training provider wants to offer a training for estate agents for a specific qualification, they will then apply for accreditation with Services SETA, and there are different levels at which they will be accredited to train. Once they are accredited, they can, on their own, train learners, whether using companies that are paying for that particular training themselves, or whether they apply for grants to the SETAs and be funded to train for those particular programs. Generally, we work very closely with employers. The main characteristic of the post-schooling education and training system, it requires that the programs that we offer, especially learnerships, and we have work-placed learning, which gives the learners an opportunity to have the experience at the employer's premises, so that when they qualify or they are proved to be competent, they have some practical experience. In a learnership setup, you are required to have spent 30% of the time doing theory, whereas the 70% it requires you to have spent time at workplaces. It is based on this formula that you find that in the main, the employers are better placed to apply for funding from SETAs because they are able to provide that particular workplaces, so that the process of training can be completed without delays.
Okay. All right. We let me go to the CEO of Chieta, Mr. Pile. I joined you some few weeks ago, Mr. Pile, at Southwest TVET College, and you were launching a very interesting program that has to do with 3D printing and robotics, which was allowing learners in in that college and within that community to be exposed to specific future skills. But what else does Chieta do? you regarded as one of the small SETAs in comparison to, to services SETA and various other SETAs. But what does SETA do?
But thank you very much, DM, and good afternoon to you and to all the listeners as well. DM,
Pillay?
DM, can I continue?
Okay, I don't think we have Pillay here. Maybe let me bring in the acting
we do have
CEO.
Mr. Pillay, DM. Sorry, we do have Mr. Pillay.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Hi, DM, are you able to hear me?
All right, so he probably can't hear me or
DM, can I
something like that. But yeah, maybe let me move to the CEO of MICT SETA, Mr. Matume Madibana. Matume, the MICT SETA is one of the SETAs which is playing quite such a big role in terms of skills in the ICT sector. But what are these? I mean, what are the areas that you're focusing on, and but also who are we working with within the ICT sector?
Thanks very much, Deputy Minister, and greetings to esteemed guests. With MICT SETA, our focus of attention is in the main 5 subsectors, which is advertising.
I'm battling to hear you.
Is it? I can hear you clearly from my
Yes.
side, DM. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay, thanks very much, Deputy Minister and esteemed guests. Our SETA focuses in the main on 5 subsectors, which are advertising, film and electronic media, electronics, IT, which is information technology, and telecommunications. And other critical areas in terms of our skills development programs, amongst others, it's your systems development, your business analyst, and your various national certificates in information and communications technology, your software testing, amongst others, your systems development, and we also focus on other future skills, not limited to your Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, your robotics and robotics engineering. We also focus on other future scarce skills or critical skills, such as your design thinking, your data science, cybersecurity, amongst others, including cloud computing. And these are some of the programs that we finalizing processing in terms of development with our partner QCTO. They were recently gazetted.
Yeah, you seem to be fading, Matume.
Okay.
I thought the problem is at my end, but even the technical team is battling to hear you. Maybe if you can just fix your mic in the meantime, so that we can hear you properly.
Can you hear me now, DM?
No, it's quite faint. It's quite faint. Yeah, so we're battling to hear you. Yeah, but we'll come back to you. Just try and see if we can't, fix that. Yeah, so that we can bring you on board. But in the meantime, and I'd like you to repeat some of the things that you've said after you fixed your on your side. But I want to go back to our chief director at the department, Mr. Mabuza Ngubane, just to check. so part of the questions that people frequently ask me is, so why should I contribute towards the SETA levy as an employer? I already have my employees who are working, and I'm paying them, and they are skilled and all of that. What's the importance of paying the levy to sector education and training authorities?
Thank you very much, DM. Let me firstly indicate that the payment of levies is mandated in terms of Skills Development Levies Act number 9 of 1999. All employers are required to pay the levies, but there is a threshold, as the CEO has indicated, that the employers with a certain annual turnover of a certain amount must pay levies. Levies assist like this. Levies is the money that is contributed by the employers to the SETAs that will assist with the training of the employees in all the sectors. Levies are paid back in the form of mandatory grants and discretionary grants. The advantage of paying levies by employers is that a levy that is paying, an employer that is paying levy to the employer is entitled to claim both types of grants, mandatory grant and discretionary grant. The mandatory grant is the type of levy that is only paid by the SETA to those employers who made a contribution or who paid the levies to the SETA via SARS. So those employers are entitled to claim back that amount of money by simply submitting their workplace skills plan, which is their training plan, and their annual training report, which is just a report that proves that that particular employer has trained his employees. So not all employers are entitled to claim mandatory grant. It is only mandatory to be paid back by the SETA only to those who contributed by paying the levy and who have submitted these two documents, which is a workplace skills plan and an annual training report. But for the employers who does not pay levies to the SETAs, they are not entitled to claim back the mandatory grant. They are only entitled to submit applications for discretionary grant. As the word is self-explanatory, that is a discretionary grant. So the SETA will open the funding windows, inviting the employers to submit applications. And it is dependent on the SETA's discretion after assessing the application or the proposal by that particular employer to decide whether they can fund them or not. So that is what levy payment is all about in a nutshell.
Okay.
SDM.
Okay. So, Daniel, you are the CEO of Octomate, which is one of the stakeholders for INSETA. And you've been doing work with INSETA, and I understand that you are with Elena, Hopes in Disiwe Masina. But what has been your experience, working with SETA, and just to tell us how you went about, to be working with INSETA. Daniel? Okay, is Daniel on? All right. Let me because I seem to be having some technical issues here with my connectivity and getting some people through. Um, yeah, just to then go back to and then if you have some questions, if you want to ask specific questions to some of the SETA CEOs that we have here, just request to speak, or you can tag me on my Twitter timeline at Buti Manamela, and we will try and get your questions run through. But just to emphasize that, the SETAs are occupying a very important space within our skills development program as government. And part of the things that we as government intend to do is to help provide an opportunity for learners who are part of the or who are recruited into SETA programs either through training providers or through employers, to get the skills that they need. They could still be employed, or they could be in an institution of a post-school education and training institution, or they could be unemployed, because we've had a range of programs wherein unemployed young people forming part of SETAs. Daniel, do we have you? Do you want
Yes.
to? Yes,
Hi,
please.
Yes.
Yeah,
Hi,
sure.
Buti. How are you? Sorry, man. The mistake made there was from Optimate. So I'm Daniel Dabrowski from Phases Pty Limited and CKP
Okay.
Pty Limited. So I got a little confused there. Sorry, I was prepped, but I wasn't sure that you were.
Oh, okay. All right. Talk to me. You've had my
Yes.
question.
So yes. So I think thank you once again for the invite to this forum. I think as business in South Africa, it's a privilege to be a part of what we're hearing today. I think there's a lot of frustration when it comes to the business process between the various SETAs and business, but I know that the SETAs and business work really hard to mitigate and deal with the issues at hand, especially given our economic crisis, 56% of businesses closing down in the last COVID period, the challenges we're facing with industry, the unemployment rates that have gone by. So it's really great to see you guys reaching out today on a forum like this and giving us the opportunity to engage, because I think if we take responsibility as employment and government around the crises we're facing, and we start working together and we start partnering on solutions, then I think we're going to achieve something. I think we're going to be able to turn the status quo around. And I love that up to now, you guys have just given us indication of how we should engage with you again. So, yeah, from my side, I don't know what other questions you have from me, but it's a very positive forum to be a part of today. So thank you so much.
All right. So what do you do, Daniel?
Okay, so we are predominantly do learnerships into the insurance industry. So we service within SETA. We have obviously connectivity to other SETAs and services SETA through other service providers that we upsell to our clients. So we do your short-term levels 4 and 5, long-term insurance and wealth management. So we predominantly in the in-SETA space, but we do deal with services SETA as well, and various other initiatives that we're running all the time.
Okay. All right. And how's it been working with the SETAs?
So, Buti, like I said, I think that if this was a forum to set up business process and frustration, then we could do that. Because I think every business and the complexity of training and the requirements that we have to bring a learner through a process. I mean, we know that it's a high intensive admin process. We know that it's not easy. We know that there's back and forth engagement, but I really feel that if we partner together like we have successfully put 7,500 learners through the process through in-SETA in the last 14 years. So from our perspective and our side, we're grateful that the opportunity exists. I think that there's opportunity to train more learners. I think that training providers like us have a lot more scope and capacity to put through more numbers through our businesses that we prepared ourselves for from an operational point of view. So I know that President Cyril Ramaphosa released 800 million rand funding option not so long ago in terms of unemployment, and we're saying to ourselves, if we as a business have capacity, which I can tell you we do, to do 2,000 learnerships a year, you know, and partner with various teachers to say, how do we grow capacity? Because even though we do great initiatives, even though we put learners through, we're way under the numbers. We're way under the capacity that's needed to change the unemployment stats, to put people into employment and into the workspace and give them a chance, would you?
We
Okay,
seem to be
Florence,
having
yeah.
connectivity issues there with Daniel. He's just gone really mute and we can't hear him too clearly. DM, I see Mr. Pile is back in from Chieta. If you can bring him back in. Yeshan Pile?
No, thank you very much, DM and Program Director. DM, it's Yeshan Pillay here from Chemical SETA. If listeners are able to hear me, just based on the question that you did pose, I think quite correctly so, the Chemical SETA really focuses on ensuring that we provide learning and training opportunities for unemployed learners in the form of firstly looking at learnerships, your structured learning programs, your internships, your bursaries, candidacy programs, and skills programs, short skills programs. So in the last year or so, we've supported about 10,068 learners across 5 chambers and 9 subsectors. In the chemicals industry, they are your petroleum and base chemicals, of which your largest stakeholders there would be the likes of Sasol, your Engine, BP, etc. And so if you are, for example, wanting to gain on-the-job learning experience, you could, for example, go onto the Sasol website. You would see some tab for learning learnerships, and you'll see a list of learnerships from chemical engineering to boiler making, chemical plant operations. All of those are, to a large extent, funded by the Chemical SETA, so that we are able to run those learnerships in partnership and collaboration. And that's just but one example. We also look at the glass sector. We also look at specialty chemicals, surface coatings, explosives and fertilizers, and of course the pharmaceuticals subset. Just recently, one program with Aspen Pharmacare, we had about 2.7 million rand distributed to 50 learners with disabilities to ensure that they get vital on-the-job skills in a structured way in the pharmaceutical sector, which is one of the fast-growing sectors in the economy right now. And so I think, GM, just to highlight two other, I think, programs might be interested in. The other program we run is strategic projects. And in the strategic project space, we really look at, for example, your support to small businesses, cooperatives. We also look at career guidance and development support, which was the robotics program, DM, that you attended at Southwest College. We also look at supporting your TVET colleges. We have partnerships with 28 TVET colleges. And then we also support research projects, so PhD levels, postdoctoral bursaries. Recently, with the Walter Sisulu University, a number of postdoctoral students were supported with developing a COVID-19 vaccine for the local African context. And this is in partnership with the Northwest University and the Walter Sisulu University. So much of this information can be found on our website, www.cheetah.org.za, and we also guide students through info@cheetah.org.za, simply because we don't fund learners directly. We fund institutions, organizations, but we are able to support and guide learners through these channels for accessing the support that I've just mentioned. Thanks, Jim.
Thank you, Yeshan. So I'm thinking for the ordinary person who's trying to get in, they're probably asking themselves, How do I get onto these lists with the SETAs to get the training? And they're also asking themselves, how do I find myself being one of the service providers that the CEOs and the deputy minister are speaking about? Can I just, DM, if you'll allow me, speak to another service provider? And after that, I'd like to take a question off the floor. But we made a mistake and mixed up Daniel with Octomate earlier on. I see we have Octomate in the space. So I'll give Octomate an opportunity to speak on what their processes are and what kind of training they provide and which SETAs they work with specifically.
Good afternoon. Thank you for this opportunity for us to be part of this platform. My name is Abot Fukwa. I'm the CEO of Octomate Education, which is a training provider within the financial services space. We are accredited with the INSETA. We are accredited with the Bank SETA. We are accredited with MICT SETA. We are accredited also with Agri SETA. And we also are accredited with other international bodies such as the AAT and CompTIA. So what we actually do is, like our motto says, we are positioned for purpose. We offer educational qualifications that you have to translate into a job opportunity at the end. So we differentiate ourselves by putting ourselves in a space where if a learner comes to us after he has completed a qualification or some training with us, we want to be able to see the end result, which is a job. So that's the approach that we have used. So we have used the incubator model to actually ensure that we deliver on our on what we do. So one thing that we do is we don't want to teach something that we don't actually do. So, for example, within the financial services space, to talk more about the insurance space, where we have operated for the last 11 years, we later had to also get our licensed FSP. So we also are a licensed FSP. This enables us to offer training, but at the same time, actually put the learner into an environment where we can incubate him and work with established companies such as your big insurance companies. We offer services to your blue chip companies such as your Sanlams, your Asupo, your Avbobs. We are actually their service provider. One of the challenges that we saw in the financial services space was the big companies, when it comes to learnerships and others funded programs, they may not have the right capacity to babysit a learner until he becomes competent. So we saw that was missing. So we are within our incubator model, we actually fulfill that that space where a learner who comes within our platform, we take him as whilst he is on a funded program with a company. We do all the groundwork. We assign that learner to a mentor, and we actually register him on our own rep register. He starts doing the job that you would have done at the company, but having a specific mentor who is assigned to him. So this actually usually works because it takes out the teething issues that the big companies are not willing to have, because in most cases, the person that they choose to be a mentor, he won't have the necessary time to be also transferring a certain skill because he still has his own targets. So we have found out that this model actually works, and big companies are finding this as a good model to partner with us, because when they, at the end of the learnership, they actually get an opportunity to have a learner who is not only work ready, but who is now able to get a permanent, who is what we call permanent job ready. So yeah, that's the approach that we have been working. We
Thank
do.
you so much.
Yes.
Thank you so much for putting that out. And I hope I'll be able to come back to you as we get towards wrapping this up.
Yes.
I want to also include Nancy here, because Nancy is also a training provider. I'm keen on hearing training providers speak, and I hope, Nancy, you got the mic. To tell us what the processes are. A lot of people complain that they do not know how to access the system. So, Nancy, how did you access the system? And as we speak now, the young people that want to take up learnerships, who do they go to? Do they come to you, or do they go to the SETA, or do they go through a company? How does it work? Nancy?
Hello.
Yes, I can hear you, Nancy. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, Deputy Minister, Ma'am Flo, and all the listeners. My name is Nancy Epps.
Afternoon, Nancy.
Thank you. My name is Nancy Epps, a young person, and I'm also the manager of Maruatuna Skills and Development Training in Polokwane. I'm honored to be in this meeting with you, and I'm glad to announce that we as Maruatuna Institute are offering a range of qualifications that
Are you still with us, Nancy?
Hello.
Hi, we are here. We lost you there for a second.
I'm sorry, it was the connection.
Please go ahead and tell us more about what Maruatuna Institute does.
Thank you so much. We are a youth previously disadvantaged, fully accredited to the Services SETA. And Deputy Minister, since we joined the Services SETA, we have exceeded a total number of 1,200 learners through our institution and from various programs. And I'm happy to announce that some of our learners have got jobs in the provincial hospital through the cleaning program. We have an ongoing learnership in Lepeleng municipality with over 100 learners, and we have enrolled unemployed youth people in and around Leboakgomo precinct. I'm happy to announce that the project commenced well and on time under the difficult circumstances brought upon by the COVID-19 pandemic. And out of the 100 learners, we still have about 98% in class out of the 2 learners that dropped out when they got greener pastures. The learners are currently placed in 3 different sites. The first one is Leboakgomo, second being Zebediela, and lastly Mafefe. In terms of administration between ourselves and the Services SETA is a very good one, as we have managed to pay the first stipends on time. All the learners are registered for the UIF, which are contributing monthly, as well as the services provider, so that when they finish their learnership, they might be able to get that money from the UIF that will help them when they're still looking for more work. And I would really like to show my appreciation towards the government as they're changing the lives of our young people. And as the training provider who comes from a rural province, I'm thankful for the opportunity afforded to us as the SDP and the learnership, as it's bringing change and development to the unprivileged people of Limpopo and the whole country as a whole. Within the current COVID-19 pandemic we find ourselves in, cleanliness is at the center of our mitigate for this pandemic. So the project assists not only the learners, but the local municipalities. I just once more thank you, the Deputy Minister and the listeners, for the chance you have given us to speak to you. And with me, I have 2 learners that want to say something in terms of their learnership and what they've been doing since the learnership started. D-head. And
Please
in
allow
terms
them.
of, yes, ma'am. And I wanted to add something, lastly, Speaker. With the D-head, we have since applied for an accreditation in 2017 to become a fully fledged privileged institution. Until date, we are still waiting for that accreditation.
The Deputy Minister and Mr. Ngubane will have to help me answer that one. Thank you very much. Can we hear from the learners that you have with you there? If they can introduce themselves and tell us what they do.
Good afternoon, Honorable Deputy Ministers and all listeners. My name is Julian Elena at Maruatuna in Leboahomu, Antalepele Municipality. Thank you so much for giving me a platform. I want to thank SETA in collaboration with Maruatuna for giving us this opportunity. I feel privileged to be part of cleaning and hygiene learnership. I'm from disadvantaged family. I'm able to put food on the table for my family because of the stipend that they give us. Before I become part of this cleaning and hygiene learnership, I know only about basic cleaning, but now I'm equipped with a lot of knowledge. I know about the cleaning principles that should be applied in the cleaning process, which are cleaning from the furthest end to the entrance, cleaning from top to bottom, and complete dry cleaning procedure before wet cleaning. I also know about the various categories of cleaning, which are basic cleaning, standard cleaning, and superior cleaning. And I also know about types of cleaning material. As a cleaner, I have to report the damages taken to my supervisor. Or starter cost a company a lot of money. I can the damages to get out the floor, the crackle, or the windows broken, and then I can eat the toilet leak. This is a great opportunity for young women and men who want to be in a cleaning industry.
Ke gopela o ntlhalosetse o tsene jwang wena mo opportunity ye ya learnership o tsentshitswe ke mang ka gore batho ba re ka re go tsenwa ka setsebano o tsene ka setsebano go ba o humane tsela wena bo a butswa gore this is the process that we follow to get in.
Okay, ke bone ba advertise learnership e ka romela di CV jaaka. So ba mpone
a tsena ka mmane go ba ka mogotsi.
A gone motho ke tseneng ka ene o ke mo tsebang ke no apply learnership ke sa tsebe motho ka bitsiwa so ka fiwa monyetla. Till today ke sa le part of learnership.
Re a go lebogisha. Nancy, can we have the other learner that's there with you, please?
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Honorable Deputy Minister and listener. Firstly, I thank you for my God to open this opportunity. Thank you for SETA and Maruatuna. We appreciate the opportunity you have given us to learn clean and hygiene because they take a big role in our life. I have a good journey to experience cleaning and hygiene. Kerata gono leboga sewe jalo ka mosadi wa go tswa magae go no hwetša opportunity ya health hygiene ene ke leboga le gore e tlile ka nako ya gona ya COVID-19 ka kwešiša gore ene batho ba bantši ba tšeela health hygiene fase ene ke ntho nngwe e bohlokwa kudu ka gare ga batho gobane go se dule ka gare ga health hygiene go ka khosa malwetse a mantši ka gare ga batho ene ke a leboga because le stipend yona yewe ya re thuša e nkgoditše ke le mosadi wa magae e le kgale ke dutse 12 years ka moka ke nyaka mmereko ke sa o hwetše mara ke leboga ka lebaka la gore le yona tšhelete we ke kry-ile e kgona go nthuša se sengwe ene SETA le Maruatuna e nthutile gore ge ke le health hygiene ke bereka ke swanetše go šomiša di PPE ne ke le o mongwe wa go cleana mara ke sa lemoge ka di chemical ene di chemical di bohlokwa go na le batho ba bantši ba ke ba tsebang be le di cleanera ba sa kgone go ka kwešiša ka PPE ba bang ke a ba bona matsogo a bona khokhoropha le mahlo a bona damage le di-lungs tša bona ke ile ka ba botiša ba ntlhalosetša gore ne ke le cleaner mara maro a tsena le sita in rutile gore ka gare ga cleaner swantse o be protective o apare PPE ene ke a leboga gobane ye we be ke sa e tsebe le kgono ke a tseba gore ge ke cleaner ke swanetše gore ke apare PPE matsogo a ka gona le di-chemical tše dingwe ge o ka di tshwara di ka go damage matsogo ba bantši ke ba bone matsogo a gona a khokhoropane ka lebaka la gore le kgono ke tsebile gore go na le di-chemical tše di-dangerous tše di ka jang seatla ke a tseba gore le ka gare ga go cleaner swantse o iphutse ka gare ga the mask gore that smell yela e ska kgona go batša di-lungs e ska kgona go thibantšha dinko gore le ka gare ga nako ye ya COVID-19 re kgone go tseba gore health hygiene e bohlokwa ke kwešiša gore health hygiene ge nkebe se ka ba gona ka gare ga batho nkebe go khosiwa malwetši a tona le sita ka gare ga go tla ka gare ga rural area ka nnete le nna ka tsepona gore tšatši le lengwe nka kry-a that certificate ke tla bula my own company and be ke sa lemogo gore tšatši le lengwe nka ba le certificate se ka re nka se bereke fela ka tlela ke bohlale ba gore nka bula my own company. Thank you ke a leboga.
Re tloga re go leboga kudu se se aka re a leboga. And we're very thankful, Nancy, that you were able to bring in the lived experience on the ground of learners that have been able to work with you at Maruatuna Rea Leboga. I want to, I see, Lucas, you have your hand up. I'll let you ask your question quickly. And then I want to go back to CEO of MICT SETA to tell us more about the programs they have. Lucas?
Okay. Thank you, Sis Flo. Yeah, thank you, Sima and Deputy Minister. Yeah, Deputy Minister, I'm going to be a pain on your neck until I see action.
He's listening, Lucas. He's just having trouble getting back onto the mic, but we are listening, and then the team is listening. So between Sima and I, we are listening to what you are saying. Lucas? How, Lucas? I wasn't asking you to keep quiet. You seem to have disappeared. I'm really sorry. Can I'll give you an opportunity to speak again if your connectivity gets sorted. I want to go back to CEO of MICT SETA. Matume, if you can just start again where you were still explaining to Deputy Minister of the programs that you have. And what I want to get a sense of CEOs, and I'm going to ask that CEO of AgriSETA as well, Dr. Soroba, gets ready to answer this for us as well. I want to get to the gist of access. At the moment, we are speaking very nice things, but and that's why I asked the learners out in Leboahomo how they got to be part of this. I need us to clarify access. How do young people get themselves to be part of these amazing things that everyone is talking about?
Thanks very much, Osflo. I hope am I audible the other side?
Much better this time.
Okay,
thank you.
Thanks very much. In the main, just on the programs that MICT offers, like you alluded to, there's quite a variety of programs that we offer, not limited to ICT or information and communications technology. There are those that fall within the media space. There are also those that fall within the telecommunications and communications space, such as your national certificate in radio station management, your 3D animation and visual effects. But on the IT side of things, which is one sector that has grown twofold. We have got a number of certificates, such as your end user computing, your systems development. We have, amongst others, information technology technical support. We've got your information and communications technology software testing, and information technologies operations. But what we did over the past 2 years, we through our partners within the sector, went to the extent of doing a deep dive in terms of the future skills that are in high demand, those kind of jobs that are hard to fill. And we established that areas such as your cloud computing, your Internet of Things, your cybersecurity, robotics, design thinking, your artificial intelligence, amongst others, including your data science, are those jobs that most companies are struggling to find graduates who would join their sector. So we then partnered with QCTO in line with the applicable legislations, and ensured that we move quickly towards development of those qualifications. About a month ago, a number of such qualifications were gazetted and distributed for public comments, and comments were received. And as we speak now, they've been submitted. Those comments are being processed by QCTO and SAQA, such that our learners can be able to access those programs. In the main is to ensure that we respond to what the market requires instead of multiplying qualifications or programs that leads to unemployment, but also doesn't create that critical thinking in our learners in terms of becoming entrepreneurs, such that they create opportunities. I mean, it's amazing to hear a learner in a rural province where I come from, in Liboa, saying she has managed to establish her own business, which is what we want the most. We need more entrepreneurs than those who are seeking employment. And we've got to create the kind of environment as government that motivates entrepreneurship more than employment, because these opportunities are meant for our South Africans. And the questions that we must ask and continue to probe answers towards, amongst other things, to say, to what extent are we as a country ready for high-skilled digital jobs? So as MICT SETA, we are saying we're moving at a very high speed to ensure that the very high-tech technological jobs that the industry requires are processed as a matter of urgency, such that our learners could have easy access to those programs through your learnerships and a variety of other short programs that our learners can have access to. We also provide some certificate, which is actually a short program in what we call it's a digital, it's actually cell phone cell phone devices repairs, but then it also has a component that deals in the main with repair of your laptops. A number of community members have noticed, more often than not, almost every South African has a mobile phone, but we struggle when it comes to repairs. So we're creating a climate where there's easy access even into the repair and maintenance of such gadgets. South Africa is one country that is highly mobile enabled, and there's so much that our learners can do with mobile devices. I mean, right now we're using gadgets, these very mobile devices, to communicate and connect with the world. There are people who might have connected even outside of Gauteng. We had stakeholders from as far as Limpopo. So learners can learn even internationally and connect with other learners outside of South Africa. And the power that comes with knowledge and information is at ease if we carefully pay attention to this technological devices that are before us, and ensure that we educate our learners to think more critically and have this appetite for continuous learning, and to continuously ensure that they innovate and they innovate the solutions, they innovate these applications that should change the landscape, not only of our economy, but also the landscape of our ICT as a country. Back to you, Oslo.
Thank you very much, Matume. And I believe when questions arise off the floor that speak to you, you will be able to respond later. I want to take two questions. One from Lorato, and then I'm going to take Dr. Tobegani as well to speak. And then I want to give the opportunity to AgriSeta CEO so that we can find out from their side as well just what kind of opportunities and programs they have. Lorato?
Mema Sibi, thank you so much for allowing me to speak, and to all the speakers and the CEOs from the respective SETAs. The first one really is that there's a common refrain that SMEs are the cornerstone of any thriving economies, right? However, I often ask myself in the processes with respect to the SETAs, almost every case study that I hear of some success relates to a large business, right? And the question therefore is, are the SETAs really, considering this common refrain, are the SETAs positioned to adequately service the SMEs? And is it possible, any of the CEOs here on this space, is it possible for them by way of percentages to share with us what is the breakdown of beneficiaries from SMEs versus big business? Because my experience, I run a PR agency, have been running it for the past 9 years, and I'm inundated with requests, Mema Sebi, from young people who are either looking for a work integrated learning because they need to acquire their qualification, or those looking for internship opportunities, and they do so in various ways, some directly through an email, but majority of them through LinkedIn, right? Which and that has been the experience that I'm getting from my peers in the industry, that they are inundated with young people looking for these opportunities through LinkedIn in particular, right? But I can guarantee you, and this is again based on my experience as I try to access or to become a service provider through the services SETA. My experience was terrible. And then other colleagues in the industry, they don't have good things to say about just accessing the system. And you've asked Mema Sebi for the respective people from the SETAs to at least give us a breakdown of the process. I'm still hoping that one of them will do that, because I can tell you now, that is where this thing falls flat. And I suspect that SME owners in particular, like myself and millions others out there who have spaces to take in these young people, we could be able to do that. And lastly, uh, is that, do SETAs have a information collection methodology or method where they can tell when Lorado has taken in a learner for an internship? I worry that while this is supposed to be a skills development program that contributes to the skills base in the country, we seem to be keeping a lot of young people who are amazing in perpetual skills development, in perpetual learnerships, in perpetual internships. So it would be interesting to find out, and how do we access this data, right? To know that I don't have to have somebody who was in an internship and make them an intern again and create this vicious cycle, which is not even helping young people to gain a lot more experience. Thank you so much, Mama.
Thanks so much, Speaker. I think we'll move on now, colleagues. I know there are connectivity issues all over the place. Lucas, I know you've been DMing me and we've gone back and forth, and your question was whether we could hear you previously. I know you said you're going to be hard on Deputy Minister, so the team is here. Please take us through, Lucas. What is your question? Go ahead, sir.
Okay, thank you once more. Yeah, my issues are three. Yeah, one I've raised previously. previously with the Deputy Minister in one of the spaces. It's an issue that deals with accreditation, especially qualifications. You know, recently there's another person who've done a B juris qualification, and they are trying to apply. As they apply, they are penalized because that qualification has been given a new name, that is B laws or LLB. Now the contestation of that person is that the content is the same, but now the label is different and she's penalized on that, and there's an issue there. So something that needs to be dealt with in that space, because it creates a problem, because that when people move to from one qualification or migrate in their qualification, there's an issue there. Like previously I said, some people have done qualifications from TVET. Let me give an example, like human resource, and they are to upgrade, maybe going to university. There's an issue of accreditation. I mean, what you call RPL, where now they have to restart the whole thing, whereas they've started the journey and with the content being the same. And the second thing, you know, that I've seen also with SETA is like this. For an example, there's a program at UNISA called Managing Training and Development. That packaging of that program includes your assessor, you know, content, your moderator content, and a lot of content that has to do with education, training, and development space with SETAs, you know, where a person now who has a qualification in that space was interested in, you know, registering as an assessor with ETDP SETA, and they were rejected, you know, and told that you know, it can't be, because if they are interested, then they'll have to go to a training provider to learn on that course of being an assessor and so forth. But you look at the content being the same. So there's a problem there. It's problem number 2. And problem number 3 is I was involved in a program with an organization that was interested to register as an SDP, and they tick all the boxes, you know, all the boxes. Even site was checked to see if learning can take place there, and all things came clean. But unfortunately, you know, even up to today, they could not be given feedback, you know, on whether they can continue and so forth. So it's a problem. And where I need to emphasize is the issue of monitoring and evaluation, especially with Deputy Minister to saying, I'll keep on being a pain on his neck until especially this thing that has to do with NQF things, migration, accreditation things are concerned. So if they can assist us there, and thank you.
Thank you very much, Lucas. We appreciate the pain because you're keeping people accountable. I'll ask Mr. Ngubane to respond to you when he comes to give his closing remark. Dr. Tobegani, I want you to quickly make your point. Yeshan, I'm going to allow you to make the response you're going to make when we do your wrap up and your closing. So I do notice you, because I still have to give the Agri-SETA CEO an opportunity as well to lay out their program. Doc?
Thank you, ma'am, for the opportunity. I'm Tobegani Lose, based in Walter Sisulu University. I'm the unit head for Center for Entrepreneurship, Deputy Incubator. So we recently entered this space for service seekers because some of our clients, or incubatees, so to speak, they request some of our trainings to be accredited to service seeker like NQF level 5. So since we've been busy behind the scenes developing the manuals and also the presentations and breakaway sessions, so that we'll be actually conducting these trainings with our incubatees. So the question is, I don't know if someone asked it before, the process that will get us being accredited with Service SETA, because we're already doing the trainings, but actually now they want the certificate. So in short, what is the process and how long does it take? Should we wait for Service SETA to advertise, or We just follow the website and we send the documents and all the booklets and manuals that we train so that we get accredited. Thank you.
Thank you very much. If I can just ask that you drop the mic after I've given you a chance. Services SETA CEO will respond to you when he makes his closing remarks. Last but certainly not least, out of the SETAs, Dr. Suroba, Agri-SETA, we are what we eat. Who are we without the land and the food that we grow and the industry of agriculture?
Thank you very, very much, Program Director Ms. Florence, and greetings go to the Deputy Minister. And I appreciate the platform that he has created, which makes so many people to access the information within the shortest period of time. And I know due to the time, we have prepared information based on the most frequently asked questions in our SETA space, which I hope you would be able to share with the learners, so that with the people who are part of this program, so that they benefit more. I want also to challenge the DM. I know he has run quite a number of comrade marathon. I want to do my first one if he could be able to assist there. Greetings go to Mabuzanguvan and other colleagues in the CEO space. Ourselves as Agri-SETA Program Director, all we do, we encourage each one of us to have a garden at home as part of food security, which we are supposed to. So our biggest focus that we are engaging on is now dealing with the unemployment, which has reached a level which is not acceptable at 7.8 million, wherein the youth job seekers are between 15 and 24. It has hit a record of 64.4% of those that are not working. So I will not even focus on what we want to do until 2025, Vision 2025 due to time, but I would indicate our programs, that our programs include the learnership, which we are supposed for 2022-23, we need about 4,688 people that can qualify. And when it comes to apprenticeship, which is your artisans, a 3-year program, we have around 280 that we need for next year, and currently we have done 299. So all the things that I'm speaking about, your internship, TVET placements, university placements, they are indicated there on the program, which in the presentation that I have, which you would be able to place them. Besides, we have also indicated our priority occupations in agriculture, which is in line with those skills after the farmers themselves have indicated the shortages. So during our sector skills plan, they have indicated those skills, which are 10 we indicated in terms of their priorities: your farm managers, agricultural mobile plant operator, which is equipment operator, your agricultural scientist, finance management, millwright, corporate general manager, electrician, horticulture farmers, crop production, farm worker, assistant. And all this information that we are talking about, people can access it on www.agriseta.co.za. They will also see all the learning programs that we have, your discretionary grants funding, accredited qualifications that are there, they are needed. Program Director, we also included the funding windows advertisement, so that people who are here, like a question that was answered earlier on by one of my colleagues, CEO, who asks how to access ourselves as SETA. Is it for people who are highly connected? And we are saying definitely not. So we have indicated how we invite levy-paying employers, commodity organization, your non-governmental organizations, community-based organizations, cooperatives, your small BEE companies. They also qualify to apply here, whether they are levy paying or not, as Menzi, the CEO of Services SETA, indicated earlier on. So they qualify to get benefits even when they are not, even when they are not paying the levies. So, Program Director, my last part, which I want to focus on, is how to access the information. We have indicated per province, be it learnership, internship. We have indicated the companies that they can be able to call. The name of the company is indicated per province and the contact number is indicated as well, including the email address on how to access. And in case they are struggling, they are able to send us email at nosy at agrisita.co.za, nosy at agrisita.co.za. She's a PA of the CEO, and we are able to assist them. The last part, which is very exciting, particularly for the young people, is the following. We have first connect me. It means everyone who has qualification in AgriSeta for the first time as part of ensuring that we have 1 million decent jobs by 2030 in line with the National Development Plan. So by March 2022, which is next year, March, so we would have connected 3,000 beneficiaries with the employers for the first of its own kind. Those who meet minimum requirements, those who have diplomas, degrees in agriculture, whatever qualification that you have that is necessary in our agriculture space, you are able to go there and download the application form from Google Play or App Store, click on the learner icon, follow the instruction in completing your information, upload your CV and submit, and employers can access your information. So more than 15,000 employers, they will have your CV by next year, March, and we shall be communicating frequently, updating people who would have been employed using this system. The last part, I know we had quite a number of people that we had lined up for discussion, but basically due to time, I will not speak about it. We have one flagship project in KZN, wherein over a period of 3 years, we are placing 300 graduates with a tune of around 14.7 million. So far, we have placed 200. We still have 100 that we are working together with the Kwanalu in KZN to place these graduates. So this program is going very, very well, and it's one of our strongest flagship. We intend to replicate it in all the provinces starting from next year. So next year, this time, or continuously, program director, we shall be reporting very positive information. Thank you so much for the opportunity given us.
Thank you so much, Dr. Soroba. I want to, I'm very happy to see CEO of FPNM SETA joining us as well. So I want to give her an opportunity to also give us a bit of the programs that exist within the FPNM space, fiber processing and manufacturing, and to perhaps say if there are any upcoming opportunities as well. What I'm going to ask Seema and the communications team at the department to do is to take Dr. Soroba out of the presentation that you gave us and be able to share as much of that information as possible so that it can be available here on Twitter. Tateyende?
Thank you very much, Ma'am Florence. Special thanks to DM and his team once more for the opportunity for us to engage our young people around the opportunities that we actually have in our SETA space. So fiber processing and manufacturing SETA is one of the 21 SETAs. We are actually responsible for clothing, leatherware, footwear, printing, print media, forestry, wood, furniture. Yeah, so basically those are some of the subsectors that we are actually working with. We have got learnerships across these 13 subsectors for people that are interested in fashion. We've got fashion design, we've got garment construction, we've got shoemaking, we have got forestry management, we have got furniture making, we've got coffin making, We've got textiles as well, manufacturing of textiles, different types of textiles. We work with international companies as well that have partners with big companies locally. We also manufacture pulp and paper, which comes from the forests, and the trees are then processed to manufacture pulp and to also manufacture paper. That paper we then use, or it is rather used by our schools across the country and internationally. And we also use that for the printing subsector and the print media subsector. We also have got a publishing learnership and short courses in writing skills, in editing, and we run a lot of writing skills, those young people that are interested in writing books, in editing books. We've got a rural-based program where we work with Publishing South Africa, which is an entity or an organization that works with all publishers in the country. It has got standards and all of those. We are working with them to develop different types of programs in the publishing subsector. So the rural-based project, Florence and DM and everyone else, is really just to encourage our people to really begin to write books and to also read, but also to then be able to come in as editors, because that is one sector that has really not had a lot of young people entering the space, and particularly Black people in our rural areas. So we have got that program to reach out to those people to our people in our rural areas. We have got also, so what we've also done, considering that there is a lot of changes technologically, we have enhanced our programs to make sure that they become technologically advanced as well and incorporate new technologies that are coming in. So, for an example, in our garment construction and furniture making, we have got a shoemaking as well. We have got we've got a center in KZN as one example, where we actually, as a SETA, we built a center, and then we established sections for learning and skilling of our young people, focusing on fashion, because we've realized that fashion can actually reach out to the deepest rural areas in our country as well. But we are making it sexy, and we are making it quite attractive for our people to now come in and actually want to be designers. We also, in the center, we have got furniture making that we are actually doing, and we're making shoes or teaching young people how to make shoes. But we've also now innovated the center. We've added what we call an innovation hub, where we have advanced our machines, our machinery equipment, and we are teaching young people on how to use technology in garment construction. You know, when you go to China, you realize that you find young people who are owning, almost like a flea market, but in that area, you'll actually have young people that are able to design, to measure you, to design an outfit, and actually produce it by the end of business. If you go to their area in the morning, when you finish your day's work, you can be able to go and pick up your outfit and actually go to your meeting tomorrow. So we're really trying to implement such ideas locally, so that we can also contribute to the restoration of or reconstruction of our economy, but also bring those that have been sidelined into the mainstream of the economy. Forestry is another area that a lot of our people don't really think about. There are a lot of opportunities that are lying there, whether it means understanding how to manage a forest, understanding how to maintain a forest, but also to get into that the forestry business, where you can be one of the small businesses of young people that are cutting trees and actually preparing those to supply companies like your Sapi, Mondi, and all of that. So in the furniture space, we've seen that our young people are quite interested in the furniture space, so we do a lot of work there as well, both in the township areas as well as in the rural areas. opportunities coming up, Ma'am Florence and TM. We have our window opening soon, where we will be inviting applications. Particularly, young people come in, apply, and see, what can come out of it. We assist young people with the actual application process. We assist them with the accreditation, and those that are actually starting in our space, we provide some kind of coaching so that they don't fail. Our interventions in the rural areas, we also provide some type of coaching from the SETA now. So we've got a team that will make sure that as you start executing your work, you can actually get our SETA-based support, just so that we make sure that there's hand-holding. That is over and above the small companies, SMMEs that we are supporting as a SETA, from financial management, marketing, understanding markets, and teaching people that are in their programs how to access markets, digitization, online selling of their products. And then we also make sure that financial management becomes part and parcel of the SMEs that we are actually assisting. So accreditation, we're doing it throughout the year. It's open throughout the year because we want to encourage as many people to come on board and participate in the work that we do. Ma'am Florence, I'm going to then pause there. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, CEO. Can I quickly ask for your website address?
So a lot of information is indeed available on our website, www.fpmseta.org.za, www.fpmseta.org.za. We also have got a portal. When you go to the website, we have a portal where we are encouraging young people that are interested to be trained in any of our interventions to register, because we are also recruiting young people or people, our communities, to be trained into our programs. We use the portal to attract and to actually train them. But that portal, we are also using it. Those that have been trained, we load them onto the portal, and then we link them to our businesses for employment opportunities. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you. We've gone a bit over time, and because we still have so many questions, I am taking liberties here and keeping CEOs on for a little longer than what they might have budgeted their Friday afternoon time for. Can I please take a question from Dineo? And after Dineo, I'm told there's a learner that is with Octomate, and I'd like to give them an opportunity to speak. Dineo, quickly, your question.
Thank you so much. I hope you can hear me clearly. And if
Loud
you can,
and clear.
Okay, great. I think I did pose my question a little bit earlier when the session started, also on Twitter, to Services SETA in particular, because of course they are the biggest one. Now, my question I'm asking, because it affects literally everybody that is on this platform, everybody that you can think of in any sector, the real estate industry, being property, and the selling or sales, rental of it, whether it's commercial, whether it's agricultural, whether it is industrial for business, whether it is residential for individuals. At the end of it all, you need an estate agent in order to be able to process a sale for a property to be sold from one person to the next, or to rent for your business, or to buy for farming purposes. Now, we depend so much on the Services SETA, number one, for the training itself, the accreditation of the NQF level 4, which allows for an estate agent to be able to sell property. Even more important, NQF level 5, for an estate agent to be able to own an estate agency. And we talk transformation on a day-to-day basis. We still have less than 1% of ownership of Black estate agency companies in South Africa, simply because, one, we are not able to get training accreditation quick enough from the Services SETA. My application went in 2015. It's now 2021. I'm still waiting. It helps so much if I could get an answer from the new CEO about that. Thank you so much, Florence.
Thank you, Dino. CEOs, I hope you are catching what relates to your SETA and your sector as the questions come through. Seema, I'm going to ask you to just take us through the comments and questions that have been trickling through, and then we're going to give Mr. Ngubane an opportunity to respond to that and the CEOs to take the ones they believe they can take.
Thanks so much, Flo. So we have a question from Lucas. He says he's 24. He'd like to inquire, how does one start a training development center? He's from Mpumalanga in KwaMhlanga. He says he witnesses disadvantaged youth and he'd like to make an impact by giving back to the community in the form of education. He'd like to know the requirements for accreditation by the SETA and also understand the procedures to undertake to become accredited. So that is Lucas. I've got two more, Flo. The second one is from Kaya. Kaya is the director of a company called Indonsa Training. It's in KwaZulu-Natal. He said, we signed an agreement to implement a learnership of 150 learners in 2018 with Services SETA, and we haven't been given a letter to commence. The project has caused huge frustration for our company, where learners have been accusing us of using their details to gather funds from the SETAs, when in fact the challenge has been to commence with the project. The SETA wrote to us around January this year and informed us of an intention to commence in the beginning of the financial year 2021-22, which never happened. I've written several emails to the SETA trying to get certain dates for this commencement without success. Kindly relay my issue to the Deputy Minister. And he says to note, the learnership is on cleaning and hygiene for 150 learners, which was to be implemented in partnership with the DSD in KwaZulu-Natal. And the last that I've got is from Kiabetswe Siema, and she says she's an advanced diploma student in business management from UJ. She wants to know about the Services SETA. How does one get access to bursaries and internship? She says she's been going back and forth to access the bursary applications from the University Finance Office. And because of a backlog, they've been saying that no applications are open as yet. So she's also asked, with regards to internship accredited providers, how does one get access to the list so that we can apply and gain experience? I tried registering my profile on their website, but it's not mobile friendly. So there are quite a few other questions I see, Flo, popping up into our DMs. I just want to suggest to everyone on this space, firstly, thank you so much for the questions. They're really helpful and give us insight into what needs to be improved. Please can you tag the DM with your questions and we'll follow up for you. And the presentation that Dr. Yende referred to earlier, we'll have that up on the department website. That's www.dhet.gov.za later on today. But fear not, we'll also put it on Twitter and give it to the DM, so you'll pick it up if you stay on his timeline. That's it from me, Flo.
Thank you, Seema. So basically, I think what I'm hearing regularly is, how do we access these things? But I'm also hearing regularly, and I've seen a few other comments when you use the hashtag of the CAF with Buti Manamela, of people suggesting perhaps infographics that come from each of the SETAs that explain exactly what process to follow to get into these programs would be helpful. I think, Seema, from your side with communications, you'll have a lot of work cut out for you. But I want to start. Oh, are we still taking questions, Seema? I just need to know quickly before I start giving the CEOs to wrap up.
Let me check the
Can
DMs.
I take one more? I'm going to Octomate to let the learner
that's fine.
have the last word. If Octomate can do that. I see Lee has requested to speak. That's why I'm asking if we're still taking questions. Octomate?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Hope Sindisio Masina. I'm a 24-year-old young lady. I started my program in 2019 and I finished in 2020 July. That was a one-year program within SETA. I did my long-term insurance and QF level 4. I'm really grateful for the opportunity to SETA, the CEO and the Deputy Minister of Higher Education for this opportunity. It really helped me because I started as a learner. I was doing a learnership. I was able to get a stipend, and the stipend really helped me. I even got my license during that period. I'm really grateful for the opportunity. Then after that, I actually got a job to one of the financial industry. I'm now a permanent employee there. I'm able to finance myself, my family, and everyone around me. And I'm really grateful for this opportunity. I'm not going to say much because of time. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Lee, would you like to give us your question? You're going to be the last question I take off the floor, and then I'll start asking everybody to wrap up for us.
Flo, I think Lee is still connecting at the
Go
moment.
ahead, Lee. We can hear you.
Okay, hi everyone. My name is Lerato from.
No, that was me, Flo. I said she's still connected. Perhaps you want to take the next speaker.
Lee, go ahead.
Hello everyone. I'm Lerato from Atteridgeville. I did farming management N4, N5, N6, so which is 2016 till 2017. Then since then I've been trying on learnerships, internships so that I can graduate. I need 18 months of practical training, but I've been applying with no luck. I don't know how do I go about to be assisted.
Thank you, Lee. You've just made my job easy. So I'm going to ask the CEO of AgriSETA to answer you and do his wrap up for us. Dr. Sorova, answer Lerato and then give us your closing remarks. Thank you, Lee.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And it feels bad for her. You can only send your information on nosy@agriseta.co.za, nosy@agriseta.co.za, and another one you can send at innocent@agriseta.co.za. And definitely we shall talk to you on Monday and give you direction on what needs to be done. All shall be well. Don't lose hope. Be very hopeful. The new system that we have brought now should be able to assist all our people. Thank you so much.
Thank you, CEO. And closing remarks as you wrap up from your side? Dr. Soroba?
I think it's just to appreciate the platform that we have created for me and my colleagues at various SETAs together with the department, creating the platform for all the people who are part of this session. So we also have noted the issue of accreditation, that though it was not us, it affected services SETA, but we are also willing to shorten our period of accreditation. So for as long as you put that information that we have as a presentation chair, any other person who needs help with ourselves at AgriSETA can only access us through that information, and we are very we move with speed in responding to the challenges. Appreciated so much, Chair. Pass our regards to the DM.
Thank you very much. Just to let everyone know, he is still listening, but his connectivity today really did a number on him. So for most of the time, when he could hear us, when he couldn't hear the rest of the people speaking, so he's resorted to just being a listener and is marking and noting everything that is being said. Can I go back to the chemical SETA, CEO Pillay? Just your closing remarks and your responses to any of the issues raised that you felt you needed to respond to.
No, thanks, Florence. Well, there wasn't any questions for us, but I thought that the point made by Lerato was very pertinent, and especially in this, one of the areas we're focusing a lot on in the chemicals industry is on small business development and co-ops development. And I thought maybe just in the interest of time, maybe combine that with my closing remarks. I couldn't agree more. I think that the point that Larato makes is that we cannot train for the sake of training. If you look at the chemical industries, much of the industries are on the decline, and the industry itself has supported a focus on SMMEs and co-ops. And so I want to address 3 questions related to that. What have we done thus far? What will we be doing? So what is it that we offer, and how do you access that, as you correctly posed? So there's 2 key programs. One on in partnership, in collaboration with the University of Johannesburg and the Chemical Operators Incubator, called CHEMIN. There was about 80 or so chemical SMMEs that were supported. One of them was a gentleman by the name of Bonolo Siakamela, who has a company called Dimples Cheminics. He was one of the 80. And this program was an 18-month virtual incubator program across 5 different elements of skills support, from business skills training, incubator infrastructure support, and various other types of market linkages, coaching, etc. It was a resounding success. 64% of the participants reported a 25% increase in their top line revenue, and Bonolo's top line revenue increased by 102%. To the extent that what we've now done is to increase the numbers from 80 to 150, and hopefully through collaboration. I'm glad that Dr. Srova is on the line as well, because we hope to collaborate with AgriSETA and InSETA. We would perhaps even reach 250 SMMEs in the forthcoming year. The other one is with SAICA, where we've got about 30 to 50 SMMEs, again, manufacturing chemical detergents, other chemical products, beauty products in Tanzania area of the Eastern Cape. And so this is done. What we've done is to advertise. You'll see the cheetah logo on various social media handles. And so when those advertisements go out, learners are encouraged, if you want to start a small business or co-op, to click on that link and then access the application form where you can then apply for that. Alternatively, you can then email us at info@chieta, chieta.org.za, or get on our website, www.chita.org.za, and you'll be able to look at some of those opportunities going forward. And so I think, I thought that this might be most pertinent. We've also signed a collaborative agreement. Resources are scarce, so the more collaboration, the better, with Matumi, and I'm glad he's also on the line with MICT around more basic digital skills training, especially around data scientists, data analysts, etc. And lastly, I think, Flo, just to highlight that most of the learners perhaps on the line would want to know about bursaries, especially post-undergraduate and postgrad, as well as student debt opportunities. In March of this year, especially for your chemical engineers, mechanical engineers, and those in the chemicals side in particular, we'll be opening up a 40 million Rand student debt fund that will be able to assist those with student debt across 6 different institutions. And so that's a forthcoming opportunity, again, that can be accessed through our website or at info.chieta.org.za. So let me leave it at that in the interest of time, Flo. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I really hope that those that are in this space will pass the word, especially on that student debt fund. Thank you very much, Yeshan Pillay. Can I come back to you, Madume, MICT speaker?
Thank you very much, Oslo, for an exciting platform and a session. Message to our learners who are actually our critical stakeholders to take advantage of these learning programs offered by various SETAs. And as they do that, ask a basic question of what are the opportunities associated with this learning program that I'm undertaking, and how broad are the opportunities with regards to undertaking this particular program, so that we don't oversaturate the market with graduates who cannot find jobs or find it difficult to find employment. But further to that, we need to create graduates who become entrepreneurs. And for entrepreneurs, in respect of the question that was asked by quite a number of participants on accreditation, one needs to submit a letter of intent to QCTO outlining particular or peculiar programs that they would want to provide, and then QCTO will then communicate with the respective SETA relevant for that LOI. And from there on, there would be direct engagement with the applicant in terms of the stakeholder, such that the evaluation process would then unfold. That evaluation process would eventually lead to an accreditation being awarded to that particular applicant, and one will be good to go as an accredited skills development provider. In terms of our contact as MICT SETA, it's www.mict.org.za. Over and above that, on our website, there's quite a number of contacts of all senior managers in the entity, and would be posting and uploading particular officials within various divisions who specialize in various areas, whether it's your assessor, your moderator, your accreditations. That will be done with effect from next week. And our window will be open with regards to discretionary grants sometimes in December, and will be closed sometimes in January of the coming year 2022. Thanks very much, Oslo, and many thanks for this exciting platform.
Thank you very much, Matume. I would like to go to Services SETA. CEO Menzi Fakute, you seemed to catch a lot of fire from the comments. I think it was Dineo specifically who wanted answers with regards to her very old attempts at getting accreditation as an estate agent. If you can just, in essence, cover as much of what was raised as possible, and then make your closing.
Thank you, Sis Flo. Thanks to the Deputy Minister and the department for organizing such a wonderful platform. Yes, they say in big houses you find generally bigger problems. Services SETA is one of the bigger SETAs, and the challenges is very much in line with the scope of work that we cover as Services SETA. There are general questions, but I would like to focus on the issue of accreditation process, specifically then talk to Dineo to directly contact me regarding the older issue of an application that was made in 2015. My direct email address, it's menzif@serviceseta.org.za. The other question in terms of how and when the accreditation application can be done, I think it's Dr. Seroba did refer to say the process is more or less the same throughout the SETAs. The service providers or potential service provider can apply throughout the year for accreditation. The normal entity documents are required, but the challenging documents becomes the learning documents and the proof of qualifications of the potential facilitators, moderators, and assessors that the organization will be utilizing when they deliver training program. The turnaround time does differ, although the process should not be taking in excess of 4 months, but sometimes the quality of the learning documents does cause the back and forth, especially for qualifications that are not commonly accessible, like in the real estate related programs. There was also another specific questions raised by Mr. Ngobo of Indonza. I've got Mr. Ngobo's number. I've already responded to him, but he's welcome to engage me again on the particular case of delayed commencement. We and all the other SETAs make bursaries available in the main to compensate the work that is done by NSFAS. And we have recently been forming partnerships with other SETAs to support the universities of South Africa to also support and complement the work that is being done by our NSFAS. Again, Ms. Flo, thank you very much for the opportunity. Services SETA contact details are also available on our website, and our website address is also available in the website for the Department of Higher Education and Training. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you very much, CEO. And I'm going to go last but not least, Auspeleng, if we can round it off before I give to Mr. Ngubane.
Thank you very much, Ma'am Flo, once more, and officials from the department. Look, I think from my side, opportunities are actually listed on the website, and we do have a outreach program where we use community radio stations as well, and where we in some instances we do some newspaper communication. So the details of different departments and people in the SETA are actually on the website. So if there's queries, concerns, questions, colleagues, please send through your queries. We do have a standard in terms of the turnaround time as well. We hope that we can be able to address and assist and support accordingly. Ma'am Flo, thanks once more for the opportunity. This is so important because we can never ever communicate enough. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, CEO. Thank you so much to all the SETA CEOs for joining us today, and to the service providers and learners that managed to join us. These conversations are ongoing and important. We will be inviting you ever so often because Deputy Minister feels these kind of opportunities are quite important, where we share information on a less formal platform, but where we know we're reaching quite a number of people at the same time. Mr. Ngubane, I'm sending it back to you. What are your takeaways from today's discussion, and what do you believe would be something the department needs to take seriously in terms of access to SETA opportunities? Oh dear, did Mabuza have issues? Mabuza have issues just as I was sending the microphone back to him. Sima, do I have Mr. Ngubane?
Yes, he is. He just needs to unmute and then he can go ahead. Go ahead, Mr.
Oh, there we
Ngubane.
go. We do have him back. We've got you back, Mr. Ngubane.
Flo, I think there's
I
a
don't
problem on
think
that
I'm
line.
winning with getting Mr. Mabuza Ngubane back. I'm not seeing him any longer on my. I see he's now no longer a speaker. I'm going to try to get you back, Mr. Ngubane, just so that you can close it off for us properly. But in the meantime, I want to encourage everybody who wanted to speak, and because the time has gone and we can't let you have the mic anymore, I would like to say to you, please write your question out, tag the department and the Deputy Minister at the same time, and we will be able to get you to speak. Mr. Ngubane, I've just sent you an invitation to speak so that you can close out for us. If you can just accept and then be able to give us the finality. If you need to get more information from the department itself, it would be on www.dhet.gov.za. www.dhet.gov.za. Do tag Buti Manamela and ask, as a continuation from today, to ask for any further information or any further assistance that you were unable to ask him for. I want to apologize profusely for the Deputy Minister not being able to stay with us for the rest of this discussion today. It really was him against technology for most of the day. Quite a funny one, considering he's the DM of Higher Education, Science and Innovation. So technology did not favor him at all today. I want to thank all the learners that came through, especially all the way from Leboago, Mumaruatuna, Leboga. I want to thank all the CEOs for always, when we say this is what we're discussing on a Friday, for jumping and joining us for it. I want to thank Mr. Ngubani as well for giving us his time this afternoon. If you would like to have more of this kind of discussion, do give suggestions to the Deputy Minister, and he listens. And when he decides what he's speaking on the next weekend, he'll be able to take us through it. I would not know what his plans for next week's chat is going to be. Normally at the end, Deputy Minister tells everyone what we're discussing next week. But as soon as he has decided, we will share the information with everyone. Everyone, I just want to say, please, 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 we've heard news about the new variant. It sounds scary. It sounds serious. Let us continue to keep our distance. Let us continue to wash our hands and use sanitizers. Let us continue to mask up at all times. And please get your loved ones to go and vaccinate if you haven't already done so. Thank you very much, everybody. That's the end.
Thanks, Oslo.